Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to It Came From DC Comics here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a film from 2015. That movie is Justice League: Gods and Monsters. I'm going to tell you guys, I really don't know a whole lot about this film. I know that the story is written by Bruce Timm. That, of course, is written all over the back. And before this thing came out, before I went out and bought it, the only things that the ads would say about it is it's from Bruce Timm and it's an alternate universe version of the fucking Justice League. So basically, we have here an animated Elseworlds tale, which is always cool. I've always been a fan of DC's alternate fucking Elseworlds kinds of things. And it's from Bruce Timm, who knows how to write some amazing stuff. So, I do have hopes. I have high hopes on this film. I have no idea if it's going to be any good. I can kind of take an educated guess and say it probably will be. But then again, that, though, is just working off of the long-standing pattern of these DC animated films. But the only way I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play. And I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Justice League: Gods and Monsters. So this version of Batman sucks human blood. And him, Wonder Woman, and Superman are more than willing to kill freely without fucking question. Alright, all of that's a little different. I'm totally willing to dig it, though. It's certainly fucking cool. So Batman's able to just stroll into Silas Stone's office in full costume, and apparently nobody noticed. Really? I'm sorry, guys. Normally, you know, Batman in any other universe just normally has to, like, sneak in. Here, he just sort of strolled in through the front door like it was fucking nothing. Just seems a little odd to me. Well, holy shit, guys. I'm gonna say this right now. I never really thought I'd ever see Darkseid and his people fall that easily. Or Darkseid's head explode like that. Holy shit, that was awesome. So yeah, Highfather's officially more badass than I ever thought he was. That was just, holy fuck. Okay, I find it very creepy that this fucking robot's got has got visible friggin' nipples. That just looks incredibly wrong. Every close-up shot of Platinum, you just see little friggin' like nipples there. That is just, I was not totally expecting that, and it looks really fucking weird. Well, guys, that was Justice League: Gods and Monsters. Let me shut that off. Wow. Well, that was really shockingly good. I honestly, guys, had no idea what I was really getting into, especially since we have to consider the fact that this is the first time they ever decided to do a completely new Elseworlds kind of story, and instead of putting it in comic form, they made a film out of it. I do know that they've done like spin-off books since this. I'm probably gonna have to give those a read. I'm just going to jump right into writing, and we once more are hit with one of the few minor issues I'm going to have here. And it's an issue that's plagued a lot of these DC films, and that is the runtime. This thing, guys, is 1 hour and 16 minutes, and when you're trying to build a whole new world, and you're trying to build that world, you need a touch more than 1 hour 16 in order to build it and give us a decent conflict. So we have an awesome conflict. That much there we totally have. And we do have our main players. We even get at least a little bit of origin for our 3 leads. The problem is that we also are introduced to a bunch of characters who are well known to comic book fans who are here long enough, and this is kind of a spoiler and kind of not, but they're here basically to die. Victor Fries is here to die. Ray Palmer is here to die. Silas Stone and his son Victor, Cyborg and his dad, are here to die. A lot of these characters are here for just like a scant couple of minutes, and then they're killed off. And of course their deaths are central to the, story. It's just we get no real background on them. We really get no background on anybody. Like, we know that Amanda Waller is the president, but she is in the film for such a short amount of time that even referencing that she is the president is basically just a waste of 2 minutes, because they don't do anything with it. They don't do anything with it outside of show off that she is the president, and that there, at least late in the film, is a presidential order to bring in the League. That's it. So a lot of our characters, unfortunately, are kind of wasted. Outside of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Magnus, nobody else gets any real build-up for them. I mean, nobody else is really built up in any sizable way that could be seen as decent. Lois Lane, I guess, also gets a slight shred of fucking depth, but unfortunately everybody else is left ridiculously shallow, because you have to make sacrifices when you're working with less than an hour and 20 minutes of film. You don't have the time to add mountains of depth to every single one of these characters. Now, I totally understand that there have been previous DC films which have been able to put at least some level of depth into a whole lot of characters. However, those also were established characters. We know how Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, and Aquaman are. We know how they are in normal situations. We don't need a mountain of build-up for them. However, this is a whole new Superman. This is a whole new Batman. This is a whole new Wonder, Woman. None of them have any real connection to the versions of these characters that we know. The closest is Superman is still from Krypton, and his mother is still the same, but Jor-El is not his father. Just giving you a little heads up there, because it's like the very first scene you see, it's Zod. Zod is Superman's father, which is something which has been played around within the comics in the past, and that's sort of cool. So anyway, I really should just stop whinging about characters. The short version is our characters here are all left a little bit shallow, and that's because they didn't have the time necessary to really build a proper world on this. Now, with that said, I will say, though, that if they were to make a sequel to this, at least now we have the framework in place, so that way we don't need to add more depth to Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. We don't need to add more depth to them. However, if we add more characters, we're going to need to add some more depth to them. Ultimately, guys, our story here, barring the issue with character depth, our story here is a really cool one. It is a very fascinating frame up story where basically the Justice League is being framed for this series of fucking murders, and they're trying to figure out who's actually behind it. And the whole thing plays out really well, and it really is an incredibly intriguing story. And once more, I can totally say that if they were given an extra 20 minutes, half an hour in order to flesh out that story more, I'm not even talking about fleshing out the characters, fleshing out the actual story itself, then this movie would have been infinitely better. It is, as it stands, a great movie. It's just, once more, Warner Brothers is just absolutely strangling a lot of these films with these purposely short runtimes, which isn't terrible. It's just, it could be so much better. Now, I would love to say that the story here is, great, but I can't go as high as great. Again, I'm just once more I'm just going back over the whole runtime thing. Writing here though is good for the time frame given. Just God damn it, Warner Brothers. Why the fuck won't you let them make like a 90-minute movie? Just once. You saw how good it was when you let them turn The Dark Knight Returns into a 2.5-hour film. Why the fuck can't you let these other films breathe? They are so good as it stands, but they'd be fucking better if they were a little bit longer. Okay, I'm just gonna stop bitching about runtime and writing. Our writing here is fine for what is here, that much I can totally say. Acting. Well, guys, when you have Michael C. Hall as Batman, you have Benjamin Bratt as Superman, you have C. Thomas Howell as Will fucking Magnus, Jason Isaacs as Lex Luthor. Dude, our cast is top notch. Our cast is amazing. Our cast is turning in amazing showing. I really think that the cast is one of the reasons why I would love to see a sequel to this, because I think that if we were to bring these characters together again, well, the ones who we can, I don't want to spoil that, it would be great. I really think that if we were given a second film in this series and it was able to do more with these characters, and it was able to do more with this cast, that would be fucking awesome. Nobody here sloughed off. Nobody here phoned it in. Our acting, as has been the way with most of these DC films, is top shelf. It is fantastically done. I cannot praise the acting anymore. That right there, guys, is it. This thing is some top-notch stuff. It's great. Animation. Animation's fine. The art style takes a little bit of getting used to. And when I say that, I mean that it is Bruce Timm's art. It is the same kind of Bruce Timm art style we saw in Justice League and Superman and Batman, all of the great DC animated shows. However, they made a handful of tweaks in certain spots. And when I say that, I mean that when Superman talks, it looks kind of odd, and that's because Superman is rocking a really cool looking Van Dyke goatee. The problem is that when his mouth opens, it cuts into the goatee because he actually has this little swoop right here. And the mouth will cut directly into the swoop. It looks so cheap. It looks so fucked up. And I really thought I would get fucking used to it after seeing it for 20 minutes. And then I was still noticing it by the end of the film, and it was bugging the fuck out of me. And there also are certain characters who just look absolutely straight up ugly. I mean, Luthor towards the end, I totally understand that he basically is sitting in a wheelchair. He basically is Metron. I can't even hide that. That he fucking becomes Metron. It's just that the look on his face and the way that the character's drawn, it looks ridiculously ugly. And I'm not talking ugly in a fucking cosmetic sense. I'm talking in terms of how a character is normally designed. It looks way off, which is stunning, considering the fact that Bruce Timm's previous, works have been dripping with amazing character designs. I will say, though, that our costumes on Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are great. Superman is basically just in a t-shirt and a trench coat. I'm not even fucking joking. All of that, though, is, minus, guys, the couple of real odd hitches in terms of how these characters are drawn. The art style here is great, but then again, that's because it's Bruce Timm's art. You normally should expect from fucking top to bottom awesome. It's just that there are those couple of little things. There are those little small fucking details. Some of them, honestly, are in the art. Some of them are in the animation that just feel a little bit iffy. Now, on that note, CG. Let's talk about the use of CG here, because goddammit, I know I've bitched about CG in so many of these DC animated films, because oftentimes the CG is totally shit. This thing has probably the best CG out of every DC animated film I have seen. I totally understand this. This also is the newest one, so it was bound to be at least marginally better than what was in previous outings from DC and Warner Brothers. But holy shit, this thing, guys, was a massive step up in quality in terms of CG. It is amazing. It is night and day compared to some of the stuff I've seen in previous DC animated films. The CG here is breathtakingly good. At least, again, compared to previous DC outings. So, that much there is fine. Our score is powerful and epic, and I fucking loved every piece of music which they used. Our sound mix here is great. Our sound effects are good. Color work here is good. Our lighting is fine. Our camera, well, again, guys, animated film. Camera basically is just basically wherever the fucking scene is drawn. It looks great. Guys, ultimately, when all is said and done, am I able to recommend Justice League Gods and Monsters? Yeah, I can totally, as long as you can find it cheap, because I'm gonna tell you, there are those problems with with slightly shallow, characters and a rather rushed, story. All of that, again, is just, all of that can be directly blamed on the runtime more than anything else. So if you can look past that, if you can look past all of that, by all means, check it out. It's fucking amazing. If you are a fan of DC Comics, anything, and you want to see a brand new Elseworlds Justice League story, rock on, man. This sucker here is definitely laying out the groundwork for some awesome shit. I'm probably going to have to see exactly how many of the Gods and Monsters comics are out now, because I do kind of want to read a little bit more of this story. Ultimately, guys, yes, I can totally recommend this thing. I'm not sure if I could recommend it at the full price. I think you can buy this thing now for about $17. If you can find it for maybe a little bit less, by all means. Like if you can find it for like $15 or less, fucking jump at it, man. This sucker here is great. Now, normally, guys, I say that I'm going to watch the bonus fucking cartoons that are on the disc. This time around, I think I'm going to pass, because one of them is a Superman episode. Mind you, it's a great episode of Superman, but it's also been on other discs, and I know I just watched it recently. The other one on here is from the show Legion of Superheroes. I don't give a front-flipping fuck about Legion of Superheroes. So I'm going to pass on those, but this also, though, has got a lot, it also has a lot of documentaries about all the other shit that went into making this. So I'm going to go and watch those. And I am so happy to have this thing in my fucking collection. This movie is just that awesome. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.